Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hello dear listener, and on the Guinn Travel Show this week I have two guests. I have Guy Kellner from Benugo, which is a deli at Luton Airport, and I'll also be speaking to Tracy Jones about Southend International Airport, about the changes it's had there over the last couple of years. And also I'll be talking about booking travel using the internet, all coming up on the Guinn Travel Show. So coming up later in the show are my chats with Tracy from Southend International Airport and from Guy at Benugo, the deli. But first, I give out various lectures to groups around Herts, Beds and Bucks about using the internet to book holidays. The whole point of these lectures is to share my knowledge on what to look out for so you don't get ripped off and you get the trip that you wish. So I've decided to share these talks over the next 3 shows, going through what to look out for and things you can use to help make booking holidays easier when you do it online. So it's going to be over the next 3 shows. Of course, the first lot is all going to be about what to look out for and the danger, but hopefully that they will be you find them useful. And if you are somebody who's in a group, Rotary, WI, such like, I am available to come out and give these talks in full, and as I give the talks there'll be a slideshow as well, which kind of makes it easier to follow. But anyway, we're going to start with the first bit, which is about what to look out for in booking travel online. I'm now going to talk about booking holidays online. In the old days, you just went down to your local travel agent and booked their recommended trip. With the rise in internet use, more and more people are now staying at home and booking their holidays on a website. If you speak to these internet bookers, they nearly all go on about the bargain that they have found, but the internet offers much more than cut-price holidays. For example, you can read about what others have thought about your chosen hotel and learn some of the language of your destination, or even check the weather before you arrive. Planning a trip can sometimes take more work and stress than what you're trying to avoid, and while the internet can make things much simpler, it does take up a lot of your spare time. The hardest part is deciding where you want to start your research. Are you activity-led, weather-led, or have you always wanted to visit somewhere in particular? The starting point depends on what you want to do while you're away. I'm now going to explain how you can use the internet to research and book your holiday, but first I'll go through some of the things you should look for before you hand over your credit card details. Are you all sitting comfortably, dear listener? Good, then I'll begin. Once upon a time, Paul decided to take his girlfriend Sue away to Canada for a short break. He heard that it's cheaper to book online, so to save money, he did it all himself. He booked the flights for Sue. Unfortunately, Sue's name on her passport was Susan. That cost him £175 to put right. He had found online that there was a bus running from the airport to his hotel. Unfortunately, he didn't check to see whether the bus was running when he arrived, and it wasn't. So he had to get a cab, which was another $120 he wasn't planning to spend. He had worked out that he was due to get to his hotel after midnight, so being clever, he booked the hotel from that day. So of course when he went to check in at just gone midnight, his room wasn't ready for another 14 hours. So that was another $85 he had to find to pay for an extra night's accommodation. So much for Paul saving money. Although booking a holiday online is easy, as Paul found out, it's also very, very easy to make mistakes. Some people are just led by the price, which could mean if you're not paying enough attention to what you're actually buying. For example, if you're flying from London to Barcelona, you might find a really cheap deal. But if you're not looking closely enough, you could find that instead of flying direct and only taking a few hours, it could take you 6 or 7 hours to get to Barcelona, just because you saved a few quid. If you're really not paying attention, you could find, and I have found this in the past, you could be leaving from Heathrow, having a connection in Frankfurt, then going to Barcelona, then leaving Barcelona, having another connection in Frankfurt, but not landing where you parked your car at Heathrow. You actually land at London City. So if you're not paying attention, you could suddenly having to find yourself getting from one end of London to the other just to get back to your parked car. Sticking for Barcelona for a little while, I was looking at a website for a hotel in Barcelona. And when I actually just looked at the location of this Barcelona, so-called Barcelona hotel, it was a bit like having a weekend break in London, but having your hotel in St Albans. You do have to be careful about what you book and before you hand your money over. Then there are the stories about travellers flying to the wrong airport. Sydney seems to be a favourite. It's quite easy. Sydney, Nova Scotia, NS, or Sydney, New South Wales, NSW. Can you imagine how you'd feel if you landed at the airport ready for the sun, but all you got is blizzards instead? Mistakes like that are easy to make if you're not taking time and paying attention, and if, in this case, you don't know the airport codes. You may wonder, well, how? I'm never going to make that mistake. I know Nova Scotia and New South Wales. Well, there's a lot of people in America who land at one Orlando airport, but actually book their hire car from another. It's only 30 odd miles between the two. It won't take you long to walk it. But if you knew the airport codes at the first place, you could check the airport code for the hire car and for the airport you're going to land at and make sure you got the same one. So you can see that research and taking time and care is important when using the internet. But remember, when you're actually booking a holiday, you're not talking to a human being, you're talking to a computer. They're only going to give you the answers to the questions you gave. They won't be able to offer you the advice of a real warm-blooded travel agent. So do bear that in mind when you're looking for your information. There will be more on using the internet to book holidays later in the show, where I'll be talking about how to make sure you know that if your money is safe. But now, Southend International Airport. I've been looking at some flights from London to Venice recently, and the flight prices from Southend was so much cheaper than anywhere else. But not many people know about Southend, or probably even know that it exists. So I wanted to find out more, find out what it would offer people from the Milton Keynes area, see if it's worth popping down there instead of going to Gatwick or East Midlands or Birmingham. So I spoke to Tracy Jones, and she's going to now talk to us about it. Starting off with the history, so we can know more about Southend. I've certainly learned a lot. And then about where it is now. People may be aware that Southend was voted as one of the best airports, or the best airport by Which magazine. But perhaps nobody knows the background to the airport. So could we just start off? It started off as a military airfield. Could you tell me about the early years, please?
Yeah, the early years. Well, I mean, the airfield was established by the Royal Flying Corps back in World War One, and was actually the largest flying ground in Essex, with the greatest number of units. And so it became sort of RFC Rochford in those early years. And then in 1939, the Air Ministry requisitioned the airfield, and it became known as RAF Rochford during World War II, and was a base for fighter squadrons, flying Spitfires and Hurricanes, as well as Bristol Blenheims, out of the airport to sort of support the war effort from here as well. Then obviously it went, as it developed, it became a municipal airport in 1947 and returned to sort of military use and civil aviation.
Mm-hmm. I heard that there's a Vulcan bomber there, is that true?
Yes, there is. It's been here since 1986. It's an Avro Vulcan XL426. It's one of the three remaining in running conditions. It's owned by the Vulcan Restoration Trust, which is a registered charity, and they keep the systems and the engines of it all serviceable, and occasionally it gets to be taxied, but it's not airworthy, unfortunately.
That's a shame, because they're quite something to see, aren't they, when they're flying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you said that it started becoming municipal commercial 1947, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Where could passengers fly to back then?
Well, it was sort of a strange sort of thing, really, and the airport's had three sort of ages to it, which is actually reflected in some sculptures that we just had unveiled here, showing the three ages of the airport. So there was obviously its wartime years and its history there, but then it also became very famous back in the 60s, when Freddie Laker was based here, and we had the Carve Airs and flights like that coming from here. And actually, not many people realise that during the 1960s, Southend was the third busiest UK airport after Heathrow and Manchester. But as aircraft developed, and the sticking point was we had quite a short runway at that point.
Mm-hmm.
As aircraft developed and technology developed, other airports started to take over. And after that sort of 1960s heyday, the airport went a little bit into decline with not much happening here.
So it's really the runway is a little bit too short.
Yes, it was at that point. It isn't now, but it was then.
It was back then. You mentioned the Laker Airlines. Were there any other ones which we could recognise from today?
I'm just trying to have a think, really. No, it was really the sort of the Laker stuff during the 60s that it became really, really famous for being based here.
Okay. You had another famous person there. Is it true that James Bond was filmed at the airport?
Yes, it is true that some scenes from Goldfinger were filmed here at London Southend Airport. We have a lot of different buildings and other companies based on the site here at the airport. And we have a building called Viscount House, which is now sort of offices for various companies. And it's in the scene in Goldfinger where James Bond drives through the centre of the building, out onto the runway, onto the plane. That was actually filmed here at London Southend.
When did you become known as London Southend?
That happened back in August 2012. We were given that classification by a company called it's not really a company, it's a group called IATA, which is the International Air Transport Association, and they decided to include us in their classification of the metropolitan area of London, meaning we then became officially London Southend to the rest of the world. So that we sit alongside the 5 other recognised London passenger airports, which are Gatwick, Heathrow, City, Stansted and Luton.
City. I always forget about London City.
Yeah.
I was asked about that about an hour ago and I forgot all about it. Oh, bad me. So what caused the airport to take off again, as it were?
Well, it was in 2008 that the Stobart Group, as in Eddie Stobart, bought the airport, and it was their aim to redevelop the airport and make it ready in time for the 2012 London Olympics. So it was a 4-year plan to redevelop the airport and get it into a good state to be a functioning regional airport. So lots of different building projects happened to make that happen. First of all, we got a new air traffic control tower that was opened in July 2011. Then we had the London Southend Airport railway station, because there was a line running from Southend Victoria into Liverpool Street, but there was no stop here at the airport. But though the rail line actually just skimmed the edge of the airfield, so we built a train station here, and that was opened in September 2011. Then there was the all-important 300-metre runway extension, which was a lot of the development of the airport was about, because as I explained earlier, the runway was a little too short for the more modern, quieter, more eco-friendly aircraft. So we sort of fell a little bit behind. So by extending the runway by 300 metres, it allowed us to take the more modern aircraft and to work with airlines such as EasyJet and Aer Lingus Regional. So the runway extension opened in March 2012. We then had a brand new passenger terminal, which was opened in March 2012 as well. And then we've had various other developments followed off the back of that, including an executive handling lounge for private jet passengers. We also opened a Holiday Inn Airport hotel as well in October 2012, and we also got a new radar as well in summer 2013. So well over £100 million worth of investment in the airport to get it ready in time for the London 2012 Olympics and Paralympics.
You mentioned a couple of airlines, but how many have you got operating from there now?
Right, well, we currently have services with Aer Lingus Regional, operated by Air Aran, and they go to Dublin 3 times a day. But they also offer services with an onward connection to USA and Canadian destinations. So that's Boston, Chicago, New York, Orlando, San Francisco and Toronto. So you clear US immigration in Dublin, which means you save a lot of time because you arrive in the US as a domestic passenger. We also have EasyJet based here. They have got 4 aircraft based with us at the moment. And depending on which timetable we're on, we've currently got departures to Amsterdam, Alicante, Barcelona, Belfast, Berlin, Edinburgh, Faro, Geneva, Ibiza, Jersey, Krakow, Malaga, Mallorca, Newquay and Venice. We also offer Thomson First Choice holidays from here as well to Palma, and from next summer we'll be offering holidays with Balkan Holidays as well from London Southend Airport.
So you've had quite a rapid growth in the last few years, but how many people have you got working there?
We, judging from what we sort of put as a yardstick was from sort of when the development really took off in summer 2011 to summer 2012, when obviously we opened a full stretch, and we had 500 more people working at the airport in summer 2012 than we did summer 2011. I think we're up to about 519 new members of staff now since the redevelopment started. So it's been a massive boost for the local economy here in the Southend area, with lots of jobs created as well.
The Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. online at seclosounds.org. The best mix of music and fun to wind down your day. Listen out for a slice of cheese, the rotten tomato, and remember the beans. Intrigued? Don't miss the Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. on seclosounds.org.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. You can contact the show via facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Continue with my chat with Tracy about Southend International Airport, starting off with how easy it is to get there. You said you got a new train station. What's the other routes into the airport?
Well, we've obviously got the train station, and that's 8 departures an hour through to Stratford, and then obviously into London, Liverpool Street. So that's 8 departures at peak. Then we've also got the X30 bus stops here as well. Now that's the bus that is National Express owned, and weaves its way through Essex via Chelmsford, goes up to Stansted Airport as well, and various places all over the town. We've got lots of affordable car parking as well, and we keep an eye on the other airports, and we're actually the cheapest airport car parking of any of the London airports, which is great. But obviously we would be encouraging people to use public transport to try and get here if they could.
Your new terminal building, what facilities do you have there?
All sorts of things at the moment. We're currently going through a terminal extension, actually. So when it originally opened, obviously it had all the normal things that you'd find in a terminal building as well. So you'd come in, there's a ticket desk, there's obviously a currency exchange, car hire, that type of thing. And then you go through to the other side where we've got Stowmart Airport shopping, and obviously some catering outlets as well, and a W.H. Smith. We're currently extending the airport by another 90 metres. And the reason for doing that is one of our big things here at London Southend is our customer service commitments, and that is that when you arrive and you go through security, it will only take you 4 minutes to go through security, no more than that. And when you come back and you land, from exiting your aircraft to being out in the car park or on the train, if you've just got hand luggage, we guarantee you'll do that within 15 minutes, and if you're collecting luggage, that you'll do it within 30 minutes. Now, I know people have done it a lot quicker. I have done it 8 minutes myself, including picking up a suitcase when landing from Amsterdam to go back through, so I know it is very, very fast. So what we were very keen to do is, as our passenger numbers grow, that we didn't slip on those very, very important customer service standards. So what we're doing with our terminal extension is creating more check-in desks, more security desks, more ticket desks, more space, more facilities for the passengers to enjoy when they get here, so that we stick to those 4 minutes through security and that really, really quick and simple way of coming back through when you land, which is what's setting us apart from all the other airports, and why we're topping that witch pole, because people like how quick and simple and easy it is here.
Yes, I've been at an airport recently, and it definitely took a lot longer than 4 minutes to get through security.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 desks, and I only had 2 open. So,
oh dear.
Yeah. I was not a happy bunny by the time I got through.
I can imagine.
Neither was anybody else. You were going on about the expansion plans you've got. I'm just down the road from Luton Airport, and I know whenever they want to do something, there's a big hoo-ha in the local press about the locals being against it. But how are you working with your locals when you come up with these plans?
Oh, we work really, really closely with the local community. We've got an airport consultative committee, which is made up of all sorts of interested local groups, parish councils, members of the public, local residents, MPs, councillors, various people like that, all the other interested local groups, and they sort of help us keep a check and a balance. And obviously, something that was really, really important is when we applied to extend the runway and do the various works here at the airport back in 2008, we obviously needed planning permission. So we work very, very hard with our 2 local councils whose areas we sit in, which are Southend and Rochford, and we drew up a whole new package of measures, including capping night flights and various other controls on the airport, which meant that although it was actually getting bigger, that it was in a manageable way that the local community were going to be very, very happy with.
That's good. With expansion, of course, everybody's talking about Heathrow, and there was Boris Island, and there's another estuary airport plan. How would that affect you?
Well, we offer something very, very different here at London Southend. Part of our strength is in our smallness and simplicity. We're a point-to-point airport. We're not a hub airport, which is obviously what people are discussing for these other options. You know, we're always going to be offering something small, quick, simple. So we think there's always going to be room for people to prefer that rather than the bigger airports.
You mentioned the Which Report. Could you just run through what that was, please?
We were delighted to hear that London Southend Airport beat all other UK airports to be named the best in Britain in the latest Which passenger survey. We topped the poll. We got a customer score of 84% and a maximum 5-star rating in 5 of the 10 categories assessed. This left airports such as City, Heathrow, Gatwick, Stansted, Luton much further down the table. How it worked was, it was back in, I think, June 2013, Which surveyed 11,500 of its members. They were asked to complete an online survey about their experience from flying from UK airports in the last year, and then those customer service scores were based on overall satisfaction, how likely people were going to be to recommend the airport to a friend. And they looked at things like speed of check-in, airport security, passport control, information navigation, airport design, all those previous ones we scored maximum 5 stars in. They also looked at things like airport environment, food outlets, shops, toilets, facilities, things like that as well. And as I just said, we came top of the poll with an 84%, which we were absolutely delighted about.
That's a nice little tick against all your work, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a great testament to the really hard work of the team here at London Southend Airport that we've all put in over the last few years to sort of building this up to the level we are at now.
Finally, how can listeners find out more about London's Southend Airport? Get it right.
The best thing to do is obviously to check out our website, which is www.southendairport.com, and obviously you can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well, with regular updates and offers and all sorts of things like that.
So what's the Twitter address?
We are hashtag Southend Airport.
If you wish to know more about the Which report on the UK airports, I've put the link to the story on my Facebook page, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. The URL or web address is just too long to read out, so pop along to facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show and you'll see a link to the story. Still to come is my chat with Guy from Benugo, the final instalment of the Internet Holiday Research talk for this week, and also travel news. Now you know me, dear listener. I have trouble pronouncing words. English, German, Spanish, doesn't matter. I can make a hash of any language. But luckily, Rosetta Stone has just come out with a new free iPhone app, which is available in flavours of French, German or Spanish. And it gives you free pronunciation tools. So it contains a basic phrase book, and it also has some lessons as well to teach yourself a little bit of whichever language you choose. So I'm in the German app. The options are phrasebook or lessons. I've gone for phrasebook. I've now scrolled down to restaurants and hotels, and there are some suggestions for phrases which might be in common use and you might want to use. So here it says, a table for 3 please. If I press the screen,
Ein Tisch für 3 Personen bitte.
It tells you how to pronounce it in German. To the right of the words is a microphone button. Press that. Then I'll go, Ein Tisch für 3 Personen bitte. And if you're close, like I was there, you get a nice little harp. Get it wrong. Ein Tisch für 1 Person bitte. You get a boo-boo, so I didn't get it right. So try again. Ein Tisch für 3 Person bitte. It gave me the harp, but if you look at the microphone, it says I wasn't 100%, but I was close enough. So if you have an iPhone, pop over to iTunes, download the apps and give it a go. And it can come in very handy if you're having a quick trip over to Europe. So you've got the lessons, so you can learn the important stuff like how to order beer and food, or to find where the toilet is in any of these languages. To find out more, pop to www.rosettastone.co.uk. Or as I said, go along to iTunes and download the apps. They're free, they're quite useful, they're a lot of fun, and I think I've just about managed to pronounce every single word in these three phrasebooks completely wrong. Most of us go away to spend time relaxing by a pool or on the beach. But there's always a last minute panic. Not for you, dear listener, but I'm sure you know people this does apply to. There's a last minute panic about not being able to get into the swimwear, or perhaps being a little bit too self-conscious about that slight bulge around the belly which wasn't there last year. So there's a last minute panic of crash dieting for 2 weeks, and you're all packed and you're ready to go. You arrive at the airport only to find that all the food is fattening and all your hard work will be undone before you've even got to board the plane. Well, this is the case until Benugo opened up at Luton Airport last year, and now from Luton at least there is a healthy option when you go away. I wanted to find out more about how I could cut out on my weight and to find out what this deli would offer for the passenger. So I need to lose a few pounds because I'm going away shortly, and I do struggle with lunch. So that's how I started the talk with Guy, by asking him what he would suggest for a good lunch. And lunchtime is a bad time for me because I always get led astray. From the menu, from the sort of food items that you supply, what would be a good lunch for me for getting down to my holiday weight?
Well, it would be good to stay away from the breads.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I think that a salad, we do quite a bit of prepared but good quality salads. It would be good to drink a lot before you get on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I flew 9 hours 2 days ago, and I drank more than a whole bottle of sparkling water. So drink lots of water, and just and if you do need a filler of a bread, then just go with the lighter stuff. The turkeys, the not heavy cheeses, and not lots of mayo. It generally doesn't do well for us.
No. Okay. You mentioned about drinking water, but if you find water boring, what would you recommend as an alternative?
I like all those flavored waters that are in the market now.
Mm-hmm.
I think San Pellegrino does a very good job with flavor sodas, and now they have them in light as well, so you don't need to take all that sugar again. But generally, I'm trying to get my kids away from Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi and all that stuff. But just hard to do. But that's what I think you should buy from us. Okay. We do good coffee, so a nice coffee is always or great teas. I don't think we give enough time and love to the teas, and we do loose teas in all of our shops. So I think those. One thing in England we don't drink enough is iced tea in the summer. Just good cold American. It comes from the South in America, but good old iced teas is always good.
I must admit, I've never tried an iced tea, so perhaps I should.
Yeah, it's they drink it quite sweet in the South. I wouldn't suggest that, but if you take it with no sugar and then put a piece of lemon in it, it's quite refreshing.
I'm flying from Luton to Egypt, and I'm going up to your deli, and it's early in the morning. What would be a good breakfast for me to take to keep me going for the flight?
Oh, I would do a small egg benugo and a great coffee. Egg benugo is egg on a fairly small muffin. Not too much dough is included, and that or a wrap. I think wraps are really good because, again, you're not taking a huge amount of carbs along with you.
When I fly, I get a bit bloated. I guess most people do, but is there a particular food which would help me with that?
No, I'd stick to the basics, the salads, the fruits. Listen, I'd try to stay away from food flying, period.
Yeah.
If I would redesign airplanes, which I wish they would, I would take all what they call the galleys, where they prepare the food out, and do juice bars. And forget about eating on planes. What's the idea? We sit for 9 hours or for 5 hours. We shouldn't be eating. We should be walking around if we can. They don't let us do that, and we should be drinking. So I don't get the idea of eating on airplanes.
Okay, I'll put that suggestion next time I get somebody who designs aeroplanes. I'm sure the juices will taste better as well. Luton Airport, you're Delhi there. What's your biggest seller, and how does that compare to the one you got at St Pancras?
Yeah, the behavior is slightly different, but 20% of what we sell is coffee. So that is by far our biggest seller. And then we go to what we call combinations. These are fairly fast to purchase sandwiches that we have about 6 or 7 of them, and they come in all different breads or combinations. The idea is that we pre-made it a couple hours before you bought it. Mm-hmm. We toast it, and then you take it with you. So the speed is of an essence both in train station and on airports. Mm-hmm. It's how fast can I purchase and go to my gates, because security took me forever.
Yeah, I've just been at Luton Airport a few weeks ago, and I spent ages in security, so I can agree with that. What made you choose?
Sell coffee at the line in front of security. Yeah. That would do really well.
Yeah, that would be. What made you choose Luton Airport?
We have a basic rule in Benugo: is we do business with people we like. Yeah. And the people in Luton are just fabulous. So, and you know, if what is it, 7 months, 8 months after we open, we still like them, that's a good sign.
That is, yeah.
Listen to the Sticks Radio Show with me, Terry Sullivan, here on Seclo Sounds every Monday from 10 a.m. with guests from the world of entertainment and sport across hearts, beds and bugs. The Sticks Radio Show, online at seclosounds.org.
MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
Still to come is travel news and the second instalment of how to use internet research travel. As you remember, I'm doing a 3-week series, and this bit is about how to make sure your money is safe. But first, to continue with my chat I had with Guy Kellner, who's the managing director of Benugo, and we're going to talk about how the company has started. You said you're a small company, but how did you originally start, and where did the name come from?
Yeah, the name comes from Ben and Hugo. It's 2 brothers, Benugo. Mm-hmm. Ben is absolutely essential for the business. Hugo has left and moved on. And Ben and I run the business together. So probably the reason I'm talking to you is because he's enjoying his vacation in Turkey. Okay. But that's where the name comes from. And we are, 4 parts of our business are very simple. We do coffee shops on the high street. We do coffee shop in corporate offices, we do restaurants on the streets, and we do museums and performing arts. Mm-hmm. And then we have a small little pleasurable company called Clark & Will Green that does events. But we are small to medium-sized food company.
Have you changed much over the years?
Yeah. We're growing, and as humans change through the years, so do companies. And I think for the better. We are maturing. We are more thoughtful. We analyze things. But yeah, we have gone from 27 million pounds 4 years ago to 75 and 85 this year and next year. So you have to change. It's nature.
You mentioned you got some locations all over the place, but what's your most unusual one?
most unusual. Probably, it's a good one. I'd probably say Westminster Abbey.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lovely little restaurant at the Abbey that does extremely well, and it's kind of unusual to have a restaurant in the Abbey, looking over the Abbey, where. So yeah, I think that's probably the most out of the box location we have.
I'll have to check it out next time I'm down there.
Yeah, you should every Sunday.
Every Sunday. How do you handle food allergies? Is that something that's easy for you to deal with?
It's becoming much more in your face, much more important to deal with. Because the government has made it a law, and I believe it's going to come into place next year. Mm-hmm. But secondly, as my chairman Alistair says, what keeps him at night is a kid with peanut allergies touching a peanut at school where we serve the food. Mm-hmm. So as a parent and as a human, you know, there is no greater pain than that. So very, very important that we inform customers. It's not our place to make decisions for them, but it is our place to make them aware. And people with food allergies are totally, utterly aware. So the key is, how do we then take that information and communicate it with every employee in a company? We are a people business, and our responsibility is to communicate and educate the people we work with. Tough job, but that's our responsibility to do. So allergies are hugely important. It's becoming a law. It is information for us to have accurate and full information, and then for the public to be aware.
Mm-hmm. If somebody's got something they really enjoy on your menu and they're flying from Luton Airport, would they be able to order that ahead to make sure that's there for them?
Say that again, John.
If somebody with a food allergy really enjoys a particular item off your menu and they're flying from Luton, would they be able to order it ahead of time to make sure it's there waiting for them?
It's not something we practically do, because it's kind of there and the kitchen's downstairs. But I absolutely would ask, because why not? You know, we're in the business of pleasure and giving people a good time. And if it's any way possible, by golly, I hope that everybody we work with will do all they can to do it. It's not you can't really order online with us for Luton Airport. It's just not practical. You can do if you're an office operator in London, for example. Yep. But if you fly out of Luton, the answer is please ask. And I assure you that if it's any way possible, we will do it.
You don't like eating on when you're flying, you already mentioned, but let's say you're at Luton Airport tomorrow morning. What would you eat or drink before you got on the plane?
Me personally?
Yeah, from your menu, what would you choose?
Yeah, I would probably take a wrap, probably a Middle Eastern type wrap. I would take 3 bottles of sparkling water, a fruit salad, and probably a sweet, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But that's because my diet will start tomorrow, not yesterday. But yes, that's probably what I'll take on the plane with me.
Okay. And finally, how would the listeners find out more about Benugo?
Yeah, first of all, online, we have a website and web presence. But secondly, come talk to us. You know, we're at the shops, we're at the business. As I said, we're small, and the general managers that we have are passionate about their business, and just come visit. We'd love to have you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Guy. Thanks for your time.
John, thanks for yours. I appreciate you calling me.
Once again, the website is www.benugo.co.uk. So it's benugo.co.uk. Now for the second of this week's instalment of my lecture on using the internet to research travel. I've covered the basics, and now it's about how to make sure that your money is safe. So I'll talk about the various different methods that your money can be protected or not if you was to book online. So I've already said about taking time and care before you hand over your credit card details. Protection of money is very important. You don't want to have to pay for a holiday you don't get. So I'm going to talk about how your money's protected now, or not, as whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, dear listener, if you've ever used the price comparison websites, but you do have to be careful. Just before Christmas last year, a hire car company signed itself up with the price comparison websites. It had something like 118 in the title, and it had car hire prices which were so much cheaper than everybody else, people just couldn't resist. Unfortunately, the company didn't exist. There were no cars. So some people gave over their credit card details and found that they had bills for advertising because the company used their credit card to pay for their advertising. People turned up waiting for their car and it just wasn't there. The price comparison websites hadn't done due diligence, they didn't check to see that their cars existed, they just signed up with a contract and away they go. They got commission through the click-through sales, so as far as they're concerned everything was good because they were being paid. So you do need to pay attention to what you're doing. I'll be going through some membership schemes in a minute, but if you've never heard of the company, Google it, see if there's any horror stories before you hand over your details, especially when it comes to hire car. I'm no longer a travel agent, but when I wasn't a member of ABTA, and a lot of people wouldn't book with me because of that. But there is more ways to protect the customer's money than being a member of ABTA. I'm at an age where I remember watching That's Life and Esther Ranson going on and on and on about using an ABTA Red member before to book a holiday. But it may come as a shock to you, but ABTA don't actually guarantee you're going to be protected. If, for example, a travel agent has defrauded you, they may not help you. They made a few changes a couple of years ago, but they didn't make a big song and dance about it. So, I mentioned about reading small print. Read the small print of the terms of sale to make sure you know what you're getting and what the protection you're going to get with it. There's an ATOL scheme, ATOL, which is now Flight Plus. This will help get you repatriated if the airline goes bust while you're away. The government will fly you home roughly the same time you should have come back anyway, if you've got an ATOL booked holiday. And if the company goes bust before you go, then you'll get your money back. But so that's only with an ATOL badge. There are other schemes as well, which travel companies use, which use trust accounts, such as Travel Trust Association, Global Travel, and Travel Counsellors. These three groups use trust accounts, which means the client's money goes into a trust account and the trustees will only release the money if they're happy where the money is going. I used to be a member of the Travel Trust Association, or TTA, and they'd only release the money in some circumstances after the customer has come back from their holiday. So think about it. The travel agent's booked a holiday, he's got to pay the bill, the trustees won't release the money, so the travel agent is paying for your holiday until you come back. How safe is that? That's a brilliant idea. Or they will release the money if they're really happy with the way that the travel company is going to be handling the money. So if it's an ATOL scheme, trustees release the money because they know the ATOL scheme will take over. So that's one thing you should look out for. Is it a trust account? In some instances, I'm a little bit biased here, but I think a trust account is better than being with an ABTA member because of the way the money is handled. Booking online, you may not find that you've got a package holiday. Package holidays give you so much protection, but because you're online, you might go on one website for flights, another website for the accommodation. Putting it together yourself, there's no package holiday, so all the things you might expect just won't happen. So check to see whether it's a package holiday or whether it's not, because sometimes a travel company websites may put something together for you which isn't actually a package. But with a package holiday, if one component goes wrong, like the airline goes bust, it's down to the travel company to sort the problem out. If you do it yourself and the airline goes bust, the hotel still wants being paid for, so you can either say goodbye to the hotel money or pay for another flight of another airline to get you there. A lot of people think that credit cards are going to protect them. Credit cards do offer you some protection, but you have to spend a certain amount, which is over £100, and less than £5,000 But if you book the flights with one airline using your credit card, book the hotel somewhere else using your credit card, if the hotel doesn't exist, the credit card company is not going to refund the money on your flights because it's a separate contract. There is no need for them to give you your money back because the airline is legit. It's just the hotel that was a con. So because you booked it separately and you booked by credit card, don't assume that you're going to be protected for the whole holiday. Of course, there's no protection with most debit cards in the same way you get with credit cards, so it's worth having a credit card perhaps just for doing online purchases, just to give you that extra bit of protection. Or check with your debit card provider what protection they do provide. You may be able to get cover with travel insurance if you package holidays together yourself, but I'm not a travel insurance specialist, so you're best off speaking to a broker to find out if you can get travel insurance that will cover you should you put stuff together yourself and then one element go wrong. But as long as you know what the risks are and minimise them, then you should be safe. So hopefully, for the rest of the show, that's the scaremongering out of the way.
Join DJ Escudero for My Latinesque Show on Seclo Sounds every Saturday from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. For everything cool and hot, Latin and local, it's Seclo Sounds with DJ Escudero. Para todo cool y caliente, latino y local, escucha a DJ Escudero en Seclo Sounds.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. You can contact the show via Twitter at holiday_hut. Next week I'll be continuing with this series and I'll be talking about how you can use the internet to test drive your holiday before you book, and also how to make sure you find the perfect location for what you want to see and do. But now, travel news. Have you ever left anything behind at the hotel room, dear listener? People do, and every now and again there comes out a survey to show you what people leave behind. This latest one is from Travelodge, and it's their Books Left Behind Index for 2013. Apparently the 3 books in the raunchy 50 Shades trilogy are among the most left behind in hotel rooms. According to this survey, the first in the trilogy, 50 Shades of Grey, is number 6, while the second, 50 Shades Darker, is in at number 10. The third, Freed, tops the list of books left behind so far this year. It is the second time 50 Shades author E.L. James has topped the chart. The 50 Shades books have created an appetite for erotic romance literature among Travelodge guests, as 4 other raunchy reads also make the top 10. The first book is from Sylvia Day's award-winning Crossfire trilogy, Bared to You, and is second in the chart. The second instalment, Reflected in You, is 7th, and the third, Entwined with You, is 9th. I really need to get out more, dear listener, because I've never heard of any of those books. The Marriage Bargain, the first book in the Billionaire trilogy of erotic romance novels by Jennifer Probst, is the third most popular book left behind in Travelodge hotels. The second and third books in the trilogy, The Marriage Trap and The Marriage Mistake, both come outside the top 10 at 12th and 16th positions respectively. Completing the top 10 list are thriller novel Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn in 4th, J.K. Rowling's The Casual Vacancy at number 5, her Sir Bradley Wiggins autobiography, My Time, is in 8th place. What books have you found in hotel rooms, dear listener? Please let me know via facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show or Twitter at holiday_hut, so we can find out if we can see if our own list matches the one from Travelodge. Sticking with hotel rooms, apparently, according to new research from cost-free app platform Appy Hotel, has found that 1 in 3 Brits tidy up the hotel room before checking out. We also carry our own bags to avoid troubling the porter, not asking the concierge for help, apologising for it when it's not our fault. When asked about the cleaning up after themselves, almost 1 in 10 Brits said it was to lighten the maid's workload. They would also avoid wearing the hotel robe and using the tea facilities. A further 15% of the 1,000 British surveyed said that they would rather stride off in the direction they thought the concierge had told them, despite forgetting what they said, than asking the question again. I'm a bit like that too, to be honest. Not asking a member of hotel staff for help is particularly true amongst the younger groups, with 73% of 18 to 34-year-olds preferring to deal with the problem themselves. In a bid to avoid the scenario face-to-face, 1 in 3, 34% British hotel stayers said they feel happier asking for help over the phone or via a mobile or a tablet app, which is a bit of a surprise seeing the survey was sponsored by an app company, but there we go. Also, there's been another poll. The Post Office have come out of another one. Their Post Office Travel Money Activity Barometer, this one's called. And it says that far from being a nation of couch potatoes, 3/4 of adults from the UK aged between 18 and 64 want to have a go at a new sport or physical activity while on holiday. Rally car driving apparently tops the list of 27 activities picked by people who want to experience a new activity on holiday. With 58% they would rather like to try it on a future holiday. It does seem a weird thing to try when you're away. This figure rose to almost 2/3, 65% of those aged between 35 and 44. And there's also the top choice for empty nesters as well, with 38% of 55 to 64-year-olds wanting to get behind the wheel of a rally car for the first time. I've actually done it once at Milbert Test Track. I had a go round. I thought I was going round really quick. And then the instructor took me round, and it took all my strength not to scream like a little girl. I was about 50 miles an hour off the pace. But it was worth trying. It's good fun if you can do it. The active streak revealed by the report looks likely to be a serious intention, as 2/3 of adults surveyed had already taken part in one of the 27 activities on a previous holiday. Aside from rally driving, the activities with the greatest appeal were the adventure sports, rather than the mainstream ones like cycling, fishing or golf, which were picked by 27 to 28% of people. By contrast, at least 40% want to try a water-based sport, 49% of scuba diving, 47% water skiing. I've got the feet for it, but not the legs. Sailing, 44%. Canoeing was 41%. Kite surfing was 40%. Now, I do fancy that. Snowboarding, 41%. Jungle trekking, which would be nice if it wasn't so hot and sweaty. Well, the other top 10 choices. When asked how much extra they'll pay to try an activity, most of the respondents would spend on skydiving was £126. For most activities, the amounts people would spend would range from £48 for mountain biking up to £95 for paragliding, although the average for a rally driving experience was almost £112. Unfortunately, for those who thought you could get a bargain, good luck trying to find a rally driving experience for £112. The Post Office, the cheapest they could find was £167. So people's dreams and their budgets don't quite match up there. Is there anything you would like to try when you go away? An activity you've never done before? It doesn't have to be an extreme sport. It could be absolutely anything. Knitting goat hair, if that's what you fancy doing. Please share with us your experiences or your dreams by letting me know via facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show or at holiday_hut using Twitter. And that's it for the travel news. Sept Sounds wouldn't be here today without the help from our volunteers and our partners. One such partner is Interaction. Sept Sounds is based at the old rectory, which is the home of our partner, Interaction MK. They have been bringing arts to life in Milton Keynes for over 35 years. They use the arts to improve the life chances of disabled people and others in challenging circumstances through shared curated activity. Their programs help participants to develop creative, personal and social skills. If you'd like to know more about Interaction MK, then please visit www.interactionmk.org.uk. That's it for another edition of the John Guinn Travel Show. Thank you for listening, dear listener, and do join me next time when I will be continuing my series on using the internet to research holidays, and I'll also have guests on from the world of travel. You have been listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.